And good morning, South Africa, and welcome to Morning Express. You're live on Galaxy Universal Network on channel 500 on Starset. And my name is MBELE. And I hope that you had an amazing weekend. I mean, the weather was out, the sun was out, and the reason why I say the weather, because it was all spring and we all blossomed throughout this weekend. And let's take a look at the 30 minutes rundown of today's latest news and headlines. Motorists warned to expect heavy delays on the N3. 3 more suspects have been arrested in connection with a 56 million rand tender fraud case. And we bring you all sports stories as we wrap up today's show. And in studio, we'll be joined by a businesswoman and also via Zoom talking to a prestigious, well-known actress. And if you want to find out later on who that actress I'm talking about, stay tuned because it's happening right here on Morning Express and no other channel at this point. But take a look at your leading stories and headlines. With provincial leisure travel allowed under more relaxed lockdown regulations, traffic is back with a vengeance rather. And heavy traffic conditions are expected on the N3 linking Johannesburg to Durban as people return after the long weekend. And the N3 toll concessions said this long weekend has been the busiest weekend in a long while, as traffic volumes exceeding 2,000 cars per hour and have been seen since Saturday morning. And continuing with our stories, the Post Office said its financial constraints will not affect the recipients of social grants. This follows report that the Post Office is in need of a pre-funding of the upcoming social payments in October. However, it is moved to assurance that the recipients and are paid funds with social grants come directly from the National Treasury and are not from the South African Post Office revenue. And taking a look at furthermore on news stories. 3 more suspects have been arrested in connection with a 56 million tender fraud case. They include a senior member of South African Police Service and an administrative employee working in the Supply Chain Management Division. Police also arrested 3 civilians, 2 whom are initially arrested in June and released on 5,000 bail per person. They have been rearrested after authorities found out that they lied under oath about not having any previous convictions. 41 suspects have been arrested thus far in the vehicle branding case. The suspects will appear in court on Monday on charges including fraud, corruption, money laundering and perjury. And let's take a look at what the authorities had to say.
Really appeared in connection to the 56 million rand car branding tender, as well as another host of procurement irregularities. The 2 have been rearrested because of failure to disclose to the presiding officer at their initial bail hearing in June that they had previous convictions. So the 2 have been rearrested and are going to be facing charges of fraud, perjury, and failure to declare that they have previous convictions. We as the investigating directorate welcome this particular arrest because we're now standing at 41 arrested persons in the 56 million rand car branding tender, as well as a host of other individual procurement irregularities and other tenders that these.
And so continuing taking a look at your headlines. And President Cyril Ramaphosa has officially reprimanded Defense Minister Nosiviwe Mpisane-Ngqakula. This follows her report on why an ANC delegation used an SANDF aircraft to travel to Harare for talks about the political unrest there. Ramaphosa found that Ngqakula didn't act in the best interest of good governance. Mapisa Ngqakula will be docked 3 months pay from November. Her salary will be paid into the Solidarity Fund establishment to support the country's response to the coronavirus pandemic. Political analyst Sandile Swana says that the president's reaction is a man playing it safe, and it is not the first time that the defense minister compromised national key points. And let's take a look at this.
I think the punitive measures taken will raise more questions than they answer. First of all, we must remember that very recently, the head of the South African National Defence Force, General Solly Shoke, made it clear that the National Defence Force must not involve itself in matters of political parties. This action by Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula is a direct violation of the conventions of the South African Defence Force, clearly. Number two, nobody, I have not yet heard anybody, including the President of South Africa, stating which specific laws have been violated, because the Defence Act of South Africa does not allow anybody to use either the personnel or the equipment of the Defence Force outside of the strict duties of the Defence Force.
Africans have at this point. How much is the salary if it's going to be taken for 3 months? But as we continue moving on with today's stories, Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lusufi has once again urged parents to accept the school's allocation for their children. Lusufi briefed the media on Sunday about the state of online administration processes.
What is key is that when we send an SMS, you've got 7 days to accept the offer or you forfeit it. The reason why we give you 7 days to accept or forfeit it is because last year we had to incur lots of costs. Aging parents accept, and it creates serious problems because it creates a log jam of those that are still on our waiting list. So because we don't need anything from you, we just need you to accept that we've given you this space. If you have decided to take your child either to another school or another province or to a private school, just indicate that I'm not accepting so that we can give that offer to another parent. So offers that are not accepted within the 7 days period will be forfeited. And we want to emphasize that point, that you've got 7 days, and assume it's 7 working days. 7 school days. You've got 7 school days to accept the offer. And if you don't, we will then remove your child and you are not going to be part of the program.
And he further continued and said that the issue of space remains a concern for the department, but all children will be placed in school.
They're not going to get placement. And there are other schools I want to take you through, I can't take you through all of them. Steve will give you all these figures if you don't mind. But you will see again, World School, Acacia, schools around the Centurion area. So our 4 pressure areas, it's your Montana area in Tshwane, followed by Centurion. Then we have the Midrand, Woodmead, Sentin corridor, and then it will then end in the south. That's our main pressure areas. So we really need, and I hope the institution that is assisting us in building schools, we need to move with the necessary speed to ensure that we address this. To us, it's a vote of confidence on public education. And if you take into consideration the pressures of COVID on private education, that parents cannot afford to pay private education, we'll have additional numbers that are coming into the public education space. So we need to move with speed to ensure that the public education space can still offer quality education in an environment that is conducive. I hate it that we have to break your laboratories, your library, and others to accommodate learners. I don't think that we should go that route. We should build new quality schools, and where there's available space in some of the schools that are popular, we need to expand within those particular schools. So I don't want to take you through, as I said, I don't want to take you through all those schools in terms of their capacity, but we'll place this information on our website and we'll have an idea of our top 10 primary schools and our top 10 secondary schools. But I want to thank the SGBs, the principals and the educators of these top 10 schools. We are giving private schools around that area a run for their money. It's a demonstration that parents believe public education can be quality, which is something that we have been struggling for quite.
And I'm sure you've been waiting for this moment and you've been wondering, who is this special feature I told you about? This beautiful actress, and she goes by the name of MONYANI, who is an actress and also a motivational speaker. You've seen her across every space, TV, ads, you've seen her speaking at events, and she's just a global charter. Well, that's me, MBELE, speaking right there. But good morning, Mona, how are you?
I'm great, and you?
Fantastic. Thank you very much for waking up with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, today we are speaking about all things politics, all things women, and your initiative, your burning desire for always advocating for the injustices that women find in our country. Take me through that. When did all this desire, this burning desire, develop with you?
So that burning desire is actually a movement and a business that I've been running for the last 3 years. And it started when I lost my second child after 7 days. And I was catapulted into my own personal journey of healing. And through that healing, I realized that I got my strength from so many different women. And I guess this was my way of thanking them for bringing me back from the brink of madness and insanity, you know what I mean? So the Power of Wellness movement really did come out of a place of gratitude for all that I had received from my sisters, who, you know, were strangers that I've met on social media, who reached out to me in moments when I was at my weakest. And so I just realized that there were spaces in which I really could give back, where I did have either the platform or the brand to lend to another woman in order to empower her. So I think that was the genesis of the movement initially.
Oh man, so beautiful. Well, speaking about empowering other women, you actually spoke at the forgiveness events of honor. You're invited by Forgiveness Mukalapa, and you spoke there, and there were so many touching sentiments, so many words that you poured out onto your cup, and you're reaching out to other women's cup. Take me through that moment and how that moment was, and you were in Mpumalanga, and it was an extravaganza, might I add, that all women came up to you and they were saying, thank you, I needed to hear that. In that moment, how does it feel every single time?
I think the most significant thing was that was the first time I had ever publicly said anything about my daughter's passing. And the reason why I was able to do that, again, the point of gratitude, is I was received by this room of healers. You know, I see us as African melanated queens as healers. And I just felt it was a safe space for me to be able to share my vulnerability and feel like I would get from it a renewed energy, and that's exactly what happened. And Fogi is another one of the queens that I've met who really have inspired me to rise in myself and to accept my light so that I could be a greater example unto the society that I want to impact, you know. So, and to think that we lost Siyasanga after that, and it was my first meeting of Siyasanga, and I was just overwhelmed by that force. And then it was Mama Winnie's birthday. It was just such a significant time and such a time of power, a time of empowerment and unity for us as African queens to just realize our power, to plant the seed and watch the tree grow, you know? So it was an amazing experience for me.
And how would you then say that spiritual, because I know you're such a spiritual being, you like forces, everything that happens throughout the world is through the spiritualness of life, the beauty of it. Take me through that journey, because you speak very publicly about it, that I'm a spiritual being, I'm not just here, I'm a spiritual being. Take me through that.
You know, like I said, I created a little vlog series where I unpacked what happened when I gave birth to my daughter, and that I had a near-death experience. So I had experienced having my spirit leave my body, to see the separation of the two entities. And it's I'm a conscious liver. I need to make sense of every moment that I embody and activate as I'm here on the earth. And in that moment, I realized, oh, okay, so there's a separation between who I am in the physical and who I am in the spiritual. So we definitely are unique combination, aren't we, as human beings? Because we are those two merged together in the most perfect way possible. So how do we empower ourselves to make sure that it's a synergy, it's a mutual relationship between the two? So when my daughter passed, I was going as well, accepting my ancestral calling, which led me through a lot of different avenues. And now I've come to realize what my set of skills are. But in going through that process, I just realized you can go a little too far.
Yeah.
And you do need to come back and ground yourself. It's always about realignment, and finding that constant balance that helps you do your best as a human being, basically.
Absolutely.
But
I think it always lies with oneself. It lies with how you get to take life, and how certain events in life get to teach you something that you might never have learned if you're not gone through what you are going through. But we look at state of politics in South Africa and how women have become, and they've always become the second option to what is happening throughout the world. And you're always advocating, speaking on women, saying that it's fine. We can take up space and we deserve to be in that room. We don't need you to think on our behalf, because we are able and capable to think on ourselves. So what would you say about the state of politics and women in South Africa, and how gender-based violence and femicide have grown equivalently to the pandemic that we have at this point?
This is a very tiresome and it's a painful topic, because it doesn't affect only women.
Yes.
It affects the men as well. This is not only a loss of our sisters, but the souls of the brothers who take those sisters. I have been very vocal my whole career online. I have always expressed and quite emotively how I felt about the issue from a personal experience level and an empathetic level. And now I've just gotten to the conclusion that we need to stop asking for help. We need to be the help. We as women are everywhere. We birth both men and women. Understand?
Yes.
We are the core of this society. Without our prayers, without our efforts, the society would crumble. And right now, it's just time for us to stop asking those who are not equipped to help us.
Yes.
To help us, and to just do it ourselves. The mantra of the African Queen is, I will do it myself. So I am one of those women who says, within my capacity, I will activate. Even if I'm activating one person, it's one person. It's more than nothing.
Yes.
We have been crying out. We have been angry. We have been just been scared. And now it's time for us to just act. It's time for us to enact the power that we have as women. I try my best to activate women. I try my best, because they have in them everything to shift the consciousness of our society, to lead the kings to where they need to go.
Absolutely.
Because the problem is that we are everywhere. We are both in the solution and in the problem.
Yeah.
And I cannot ignore the other and favor the other. What I need for us to do is be the change.
Oh, Mona.
That's all I need.
Yes.
That's all I need.
I think we need to bring you in studio so that we can have this conversation, and so that you can tell me when you are bringing that book with you, because you need to write a book for us and just teach all the people in South Africa and the world at large. But allow me to take this quick commercial ad break, but we'll be back right after this. And thank you very much, Mona, for joining me right here on Morning Express. It has been a delightful experience to conversate with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, allow us to take this quick commercial break. We'll be back right after this.
Violence and sexual abuse against children has become a major social challenge during the COVID-19 lockdown. We appeal to adults, parents, and caregivers to be kind towards children during this lockdown and beyond. Give children the space they need to engage with their reading and learning activities. Do not hit them. Do not yell at them. They are equally frustrated. We urge you to listen, support, and help the children to survive the COVID-19 lockdown. Report immediately any incident of sexual abuse. The Department of Basic Education. Every child is a national asset.
Feel the heat. love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Chicken portions are an easy way to feed a crowd.
I've just started to incorporate all my ingredients.
We're gonna put this inside of a hot cast iron skillet.
You want to really fill up on great protein.
It's now time to sample the chef's dish. Look at this.
I know.
Like that.
Feel the excitement.
The chicken is on the spot.
Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat.
Well, welcome back from the ad break. You're still watching Morning Express as we've given you all the latest news and headlines right here in South Africa and throughout the world. And at this point, I'm joined by MASHUDU MBEDZI, who is an entrepreneur who has her own company in marketing, digital marketing, and also a voice-over artist and representing young people all the way on the African continent. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Ah, you look so beautiful on such a Monday morning.
Thank you.
So take me through your journey, your self-discovery journey. You know, as young people, politics play a big role, the media, the economy play a big role, but for you to stand so tall and be so assured of what you want to do, how did you know that?
I guess it starts with yourself and how well you do know about yourself. Well, I think I took my initiative from my background. So I can say my background is my biggest inspiration.
Take me through your background. I think a lot of people are looking at you today and they think, oh man, she's probably had it easy in her life, you know, she's from Joburg, you know, from the burbs maybe, but where are you from?
MASHUDU MBEDZI is a young woman who was born in Ramondo village, back there at Limpopo. You guys like to say Emakai. Yeah. So yes, I was born there. I did my primary education at Chezo Comprehensive Primary School. And then when I was doing grade 5, I relocated with my family. We went and stayed at the other village, Rufure. So after that, I went ahead and did my secondary education at Thoyando Technical High School. I passed my matric 2018. That's when 2019 I came this side. I came to Joburg, and then I'm currently studying mechanical engineering at the Central Johannesburg College.
Wait, you are studying engineering and you have a company in marketing, digital marketing, and you are pursuing a degree in engineering. I'm
pursuing a diploma in engineering.
A diploma. Take me through these two worlds that you find so much fascination in.
Well, I love engineering because I think I love it from back home. My father is a technician, so I used to like look up to him when he was doing things, and I think the passion just grew from there. Just see him doing his work. And as for marketing, as for the media world, I guess that's my own passion. Yes, that's myself, that's me.
That's you, that's your gift, that's what you think you should be doing. Engineering is just one of those things where I've always grew up loving it and enticed about the work that you're able to do within that field. Well, let's get into something very serious. As much as we are talking all things about you, but let's bring it into a context rather of gender-based violence, a context of young people being murdered, being killed every now and again. And we're always seeing on our headlines right at Galaxy that it's one of those hard-hitting things. What are your sentiments as a young person to other young people that are committing these crimes to women committing these crimes to men?
It's so sad. It's so sad that we're growing up in a generation that is going like through so much. It's not safe to be a woman anymore. And like, to be honest, us as women and people as a whole, we are scared of what's happening around and to think that there's nobody who can save us. But I think the best way to do it, we can just try to be safe ourselves, to look out for ourselves, to like when we go out, tell our families. When you do something, tell our friends. At least tell somebody where you're going, because you never know. It's everywhere. It's in the streets. It's home. It's at school, at work. So.
Oh, wow. I think it should always be about informing each other about what is happening throughout the world, and so that we are able to conversate about all these things. But for someone who is representing the youth at this point, unemployment is a big one. We're looking at matriculants writing their exams at this point, and they've been through COVID-19. I just want to know, what would you say to the matriculant at this point that is going through their prelims and their writing?
You know, studying is hard.
Yeah.
But I can just tell them that they got it. Yes, they got it. They just have to believe in themselves. Work hard, work harder, because you know, matric, it's very hard. You have to, like, everybody's there scaring you. Oh, matric. But the only thing that you have to, like, look onto is yourself. Believe in yourself. Do your work. Just believe that you're gonna go out there and get that.
And then just get that life, get all that you want out of life. But I think looking at university at this point, even university students like yourself, you're in college, have been affected by the dark consequences of education, being home. How has it been? How have you been able to study at home while you could do it when you are at res maybe, or when you are living alone?
I was able to study at home, but I think it was much better when I was doing it at res. So this whole time where we were like home and doing nothing, I think it was just so bad. Yeah, it was bad for me.
Oh, and those kids that have been affected, that could not study, who could not go to res, that did not have a place, and when they went back home, it was the villages that we spoke about, that it was just that one room where everything gets done there. And those are the kind of realities that we face every single day in South Africa. Those are the kind of realities we wake up to, but we run away from them, trying to pursue this dream, this life, this acclaimed success. But there are those children in the rural areas who are looking upon yourself today. What do you say to them?
I can just say there is help. Sometimes you just have to speak up. There are people out there who are willing to help you. There are organizations out there that are willing to donate, to sacrifice, to make sure that some of the children back home get the best education. So sometimes it's just better to speak up. You can't just be home and alone and not knowing what to do. You can also ask for help as well.
I just love how this conversation is going in dribbles. We are all talking about everything that you're doing. But take me through the fourth industrial revolution. You have owned a marketing firm. So take me through what your initiatives would be within the fourth industrial revolution in 30 seconds.
Oh my God. Well, in the business world, in, I guess, entrepreneurship, I guess it's not as bad as people are painted to be. We still have a future. We still can make something out of, we still can make something out of nothing. We still can do something as well. As a young person, I firmly believe that you have to believe in yourself first, and then the rest can just follow.
It will follow through.
Yes.
So how can people get a hold of you across every social media platforms if need be?
Okay, on Instagram, I'm Mashudu_MM, Facebook, I'm Mashudu Leila, and on Twitter, I'm Mashudu Leila.
Well, South Africa, Africa at large, you heard it for yourself right here on the Morning Express. Thank you very much for joining me on the show. It has been a delightful conversation that I had with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, that is it right here on the Morning Express. For myself, MBELE, it has been an absolute delight to give you all the latest news and headlines throughout South Africa and the world. For myself, MBELE, it is goodbye. God bless. Have an amazing day. Adios.